just going to run through some information very quickly, and so that we can get to our next guest speaker, but it's important nonetheless. We're going to talk about some financial information, and does somebody have the clicker in the back? No. Thank you so much. I think Mr. Tony Fleming said something today that I want all of us to pay particular attention to. He said something, or he used the example of individuals who hit the lottery, make millions, and 3-4 years later they're broke. We do not want that to happen in the M.A.D. team. We can all look back at individuals we know who made a whole lot of money, but they didn't know what to do with it. Now, that's not always our fault because we haven't been educated, we haven't been trained what to do when we have success. And in this business in particular, it is so dangerous. We're so used to everybody taking care of us. Tony Fleming said 97% of people need supervision. Well, see, 97% of people are just employees. They don't know how to be the employer. They don't know how to just take care of their own financial situation. And when you get in this business and you move from a W-2 to a 1099, nobody tells you. And a lot of us make a lot of mistakes along the way that's going to cost us later on. So for the M.A.D. team, we've made a decision. And those of you who got our calendar, if you guys remember what it said financial empowerment through financial literacy. And we're committed to doing everything we can to make sure our team learns how to handle their finances. Do you guys remember we had Miss Erica Blakely talk to everyone about the tax advantages? Well, see, we get on stage and we say, hey, guys, there's tax advantages, but do you know what they are? Do you know how to utilize them? Now, I'm not a tax advisor, I'm not a financial accountant, but here's what I know. I know we need to know. Does that make sense to everybody? So the point is, if you don't know, at least know you don't know, be unconsciously or be consciously incompetent and do what you have to do to learn it. We're going to move very quickly through some slides. That slide says, what is your financial IQ? That's very different than your intelligence level. Because you can be extremely intelligent and have a very low financial IQ. Here's the reason why. When you go to school, they don't teach you about money. They teach you how to read. Is that important? Absolutely. But they don't teach you how to read a financial report, do they? So if you're going to learn how to read a financial report, there's some responsibility on your part. They teach you how to write. They teach you how to add, subtract, divide. They teach you reading comprehension. You take all those tests at the end of the year. They score you, and you can still leave school and not know what to do with your money. But they're doing their basic job. Here's what they don't teach you. They don't teach you how money works. They don't teach you how to get wealthy. They don't teach you how to utilize wealth principles. How many of you, for the first time, it was in this industry that you learned about passive and residual income? Isn't that amazing? See, our parents told us, get a job. They didn't say get a job and create the right kind of money. They didn't even tell us it's okay if you get some linear income. Just learn how to parlay that income into some passive and residual income. How many of you are grateful and thankful that you learned about passive and residual income with the M.A.D. team and with the network marketing industry? But now that you learn that, what are you going to do with it? It is so important. It is, and y'all guys know I'm moving very quickly. It's your responsibility, and you need to write this down, and you need to change the words from your to my. It is my responsibility to become financially literate. It's your responsibility to understand what rich people understand. So we don't live in a world where you got to sit down with the rich person to learn it all. See, we live in a world where if you are willing to read a book, you can learn a lot of things. You got to learn how to think like rich people think. Now, this is not just something we're talking about because it sounds good. We're talking about it because, guys, life is changing. The world we grew up in is not the same world that it used to be 10 years ago. How many of you agree with that? How many of you really sincerely remember when regular gas was 99 cents? Do you guys remember going to the pump and say, yo, man, can you give me $2 on number 5? If you do that today, you're only leaving the station and you're going to run out of gas. Life is changing. But you got to learn how to deal with something like that. Now, I'm going to show you something that, to me, when I first saw it, it literally scared me. It's just a visual that two very wealthy gentlemen put together. Everybody knows Donald Trump and Robert Kiyosaki, masters of helping us understand the mind. What I appreciate about both of those gentlemen, they don't sit around and tell you what to do with your money. See, there's a lot of people who will take advantage of your ignorance. They're called people who are stockbrokers, mutual fund people who want your money and say, you don't have to understand nothing. Give it to me, and I'll do everything with your money. Y'all do know there are people like that. Your jobs do it. Give me your money in the 401k and I'll determine which funds it go into. And you know what? The jobs that don't do that, they give you a choice, but because you don't understand the choice to make, you say whatever you say. And then when, times happen and the company goes under, you had all your money in the company stock, you have nothing left, you blame the company. But whose fault was it really? It's our fault if we don't learn how to educate ourselves and become responsible for our own financial condition. Here's the way they say the world used to be. The demographic of the world is changing. There used to be a small percentage of people who were rich. They were at the top. You had a small percentage of people who were poor, particularly in the United States and in the Western world. Those individuals were at the bottom. And then you had a huge amount of people who were middle class. That's all of us. And by the way, middle class just means people who can eat and do all the things. Middle class doesn't mean you're living at, $500,000 lifestyle. So the majority of people in this country, they walk around and say they're middle class. Y'all do know a lot of middle class people are truly broke. They just broke at a higher level. There are some middle class people who are broker than poor people. Because the poor people live in a country that has an entitlement mentality. See, in this country, you can be poor and live better than a middle class person. Y'all do know it's called welfare. Now, we may all laugh at that, but that's the way it is. In this country, you can be poor and you can get food. Middle class person goes and says, I'm struggling. Sorry, can't give you no food. Am I telling the truth? But life is changing. Now, see, when you look at this, that was the vast majority of people. That middle class, that was the largest percentage of people. Here's the way the world is becoming. And now this is not a Valencia thing. Anybody that wants to find out this information, you can read it. That's the way the world is becoming. There is not going to be a middle class. You're either going to be rich or you're going to be poor. Which one do you guys want to be? Now, even the word rich has a negative connotation for a lot of people. There's a lot of people who walk around and say, well, I didn't want to be rich. That's because their mindset is wrong. Is it okay to have more than maybe what you just need if you worked hard enough to receive it? If you learned what to do with your money so you know how to parlay it into other things and you're not dependent on somebody else to take care of you. Is that okay with everybody? So you got to be very careful. That middle class population in this country is shrinking. Now you guys can read about these things. These are not just things that, we made up and somebody speculated on. They have statistics about what's going on in the United States. Now for years, we've lived in the wealthiest country in the world and still do. But check out what's going on in India. Check out what's going on in China. They're now saying that if you really want to be middle class, you're going to have to move to another country because it's going to be difficult. Now, am I saying this to scare everybody? Yes. Because you know what makes people move? Fear. Fear makes you do everything. Fear makes you pay your rent. If you weren't afraid that somebody was going to come take your house, how many of you would just not pay for a few months? If you weren't afraid that they would come and repossess your car, how many of you would just drive it and never pay them? You get off the lot, you're like, yo, they were stupid. I'm never paying them, right? Fear moves us. So if we have a fear of worsening conditions, guess what? We'll take our opportunity more seriously. We'll run with it. Does that make sense to everybody? So I'm trying to educate the M.A.D team so that we don't sit back, have our hands on something that can change our lives, and not just you. It's never about you. How about helping some people in your family? Now, it's true. They may not hear you today. Lauren Bratton said her family didn't hear her when she first got started. But you know what Lauren said? Y'all will hear me. Almost all of her family is in business. In fact, her sister is probably going to be a Pearl real soon. Because Lauren made a decision, I'm not going to make this happen without you guys. You know what? You guys have to get started in business. And you got to